Hello, my DevNation friends. How are you doing today, tonight? I don't know, wherever you are. It could be like me in Europe. We are ending the afternoon. Could be the US. Well, you are starting your day. Could be APAC. You're entering your evening. Whatever. Hey, please say hello on the chat. I saw DG Maddie is already there. Sahil, it's awesome. Thank you so much. So this is our second show of 2022, I think, something like that. And I'm really happy we have a really special guest like every time here. I will bring him on stage in a few minutes. He's there. I can see him waiting. Don't worry, Victor. I'm there. I can see you. So that's it. Please let me know in the chat where you come from. We love to know where you come from. And you know what? Let's get started. Let's bring my guest on stage. And I'm so happy to have today Victor on stage. And there he is. Hi, Victor.
Hello, everyone. Hi, Sebastian. It's great to
Hi.
have. It's great to be here. It's awesome. It's my already second stream for today, and start early in the morning. And
Yeah.
now it's lunchtime here in the US. I'm on the East Coast.
Okay. Okay, cool. When you say your second stream, is this your second stream for the community or for customers? Or
Yeah, so we did one of the. I'm participating in one of the Russian speaking podcasts, and we just did the recording of the episodes where we're talking about some of the job interviews and how to do the job interview and stuff. So yeah, it was pretty awesome.
okay. Yeah, because for me it's also it's the end of the day for me, and to be honest, it's my 7 hours in a row of streaming. I did for customers before, but that's my first public streaming. But I started since this morning, 10 a.m.
But
something like
still,
that.
I feel the energy from your side. So
Oh yeah.
you're doing pretty good for the seventh stream. So
Yeah, because I love the show. I love the show. Um,
exactly.
okay, so Victor, it's the same question I ask to all my guests. Is Victor, who are you? Take the time you want. The stage is yours for whatever time you need. Just introduce yourself.
Yes, thank you for this. My name is Victor Gamov. I work as a principal developer of the kit in the cloud connectivity company called Kong. And before that, I was doing a lot of work around the Kafka community. I've been doing developer relations at Confluent and familiar with the things around like a big data. And before that, I was always around like open source companies and open source communities. So I've been there for a while. Last year, got was nominated and I received the Java champion status. So I'm super excited about this. So it's some of the recognition around the Java community and the work we did there. So yeah, let's be about me. So, but I'm open to any questions.
Yeah, sure. I'm just checking the chat because I love the chat. So we have Aurélie from Toulouse. I know Aurélie very well. We have DG Maddie from Austria. I don't know how to pronounce your name, but from Kansas City, Jewy something. Uh, People from Berlin, Munich. Wow, from India. So I love it because this show really every time we get people really all around the world, and it's awesome. So Victor, well, I have a lot of things to ask you, but maybe we can start about, well, you're a developer advocate. um, I know we are exiting slowly this crazy world we enter in March 2022, but I would like to ask to you, how did you experience this crazy period that we started 2 years ago, as a developer advocate, where we were used to travel all around the world and suddenly we were locked into our houses? So I asked this question to all the developer advocates that come onto this show. I just want to hear what you think about it. How did you experience that? Yeah, yeah.
It is a very good question. In Before the pandemic hit, in developer relations community, there was always like a floating questions around. Okay, can DevRel be successful where we're not going to be traveling? And there you will hear a lot of polarizing opinions from the like what would be different from to no, we cannot do this because just we need to travel and meet our developers wherever they are. And what I feel that the this like a pandemic and in general in life in our work life, it allows us to be a little bit creative and come up with some of the solutions to make our work to work stuff that we do. And one of the things that allowed me to do this, I spent a little bit of time learning about the things that I always wanted to do more, like the proper streaming, doing understanding the camera work, understanding the process of doing some of the content with the video, understanding the life of the YouTubers and how they do this stuff. And because there are some people who always in the internet, they don't need to travel, and they have like millions of views, and their reach is incredible. And one of the things that we realized, and I think in general, like the developer community also realized, that there's a reach that you can, the audiences that you cannot maybe meet in person, but you will enable them through your live streams. You will enable them and teach them technologies through some of the online work from the virtual conferences, which is great because we were able to meet the people in different places, right? So
Yeah.
I definitely suffered from the not traveling, even because I love travel, but I didn't suffer this. My work didn't suffer from this. So I was experimenting in the format of the podcasting. I did some live streams with the coding. I continue to do some of the videos around the stuff, like maybe shorter versions, and I experimented with different formats. Stream can be longer, videos can be shorter, with like a very. Don't do TikTok yet, and I'm not planning to. But I've seen many colleagues in the industry. They embrace this short format with the short videos and with the kind of like maybe even Q&A stuff, in the format of that TikTok or like Instagram Reels. So there was like awesome possibilities how the people use those.
Yeah. One thing that I really appreciated was when we moved online. There was one new factor that was the chat, because usually I go to conference, I'm on stage, and I do my talk, and after that you have some questions. But now online, while you are speaking, you have a chat, and people chat a lot, and they start building community between them, and chat after chat there are. And I really love that. That was a new level of community building that I didn't saw before, because we couldn't do that when we are face to face. But if there's one great thing to get out of this virtual stuff, is the chat. I don't know if you have an opinion about that, but it's really one thing that I always like to mention, because it really make a difference for me.
It's great to have this interaction with the audience, and it feels, even like if there's a few people that will be in the chat, it not feels weird, because all you're doing is just talking to camera, and it feels that there's actually someone who listens, except your family members who also stuck with in house with you. So yeah, it creates this the feedback, and at least kind of creates the understanding that yes, you understand, you will publish recording after, someone will watch it, but the interactivity part with the chats and with conversation with live people is always on point. Yeah, I see some of the regulars on my channel, like Tony TV, and it's great to have you here as well.
Oh, Tony TV. Oh, Tony TV is also a regular on my channel. So that's awesome to have some crossing the
Yes,
streams. We will come back on
exactly.
streams later. But,
It's nice fun.
yeah, it's nice, but maybe you could tell us a bit more about Kong. where the company where you work for now? Because Confident, I think most of the people more or less know what it is, and we will come back on Kafka and streams, I think. But maybe you could tell a bit about Kong and what you are doing at Kong, maybe.
Yeah. So with Quank, we're trying to enable developers in providing tools so they can build like connected applications, and we provide the ways how they can do this through open source solutions. So one of the first solutions that in the open source project, quite popular open source project called Quank Gateway, that allows kind of extend like a proxy server capabilities by enabling certain pieces of functionality that you either need to develop yourself or like find the ways how we can solve this. Adult will take, say, your application that you need to expose to outside world. You put the Quant gateway in front, and you can enable different features, including like rate limiting, proxying, all the things like on the fly, so your application will continue to serve the traffic. A couple years ago, we started looking into ways how we can improve the developer workflow in the microservices world. So we start and we open sourced a service mesh called Kuma, which is a CNCF incubator project right now, that
Okay.
allows developers to build some of the traffic, the governance and the traffic shaping capabilities into their application, so they don't need to. So when you're breaking down your monolithic application, you kind of like are moving from the way how your code would be calling each other from one model to another, and now you're calling these services over the network, how you can provide some of the resiliency capabilities. There's a plenty of frameworks in the Java world, but believe me when I'm telling you there's not many different varieties of the tools available in other languages, like things around like circuit breakers, things around
Yes.
rate limiting, things around some of the retries. Like we have a tons of libraries in Java world, and we can bake this in your application, but someone needs to maintain those. And we were like thinking, can we move this into infrastructure layer? So that's why like service mesh comes into play. Also, we like to support developers in their like development journey as well. So we do have also like open source tool called Insomnia that allows you to interact with your APIs, REST API, gRPC, GraphQL. Submit requests, try to different like type of requests. You can like automate certain things. We have like whole suite to work with, like Open API spec. So that's the stuff that I do with Conk. We basically just build everything that allows you build your applications and control the underlying life of your application, like a traffic management
Well,
and observability of the traffic and all this kind of stuff.
good to hear. And you mentioned Survey Mesh. So how does your solution, so Kuma, if I understood well, how does this compare to the big one? Let's say Istio, for instance. So does it work together, or is it something completely different? Uh,
So the interesting thing about the modern stack of the service mesh, the thing what we see right now, what we like to call it a second generation of the service mesh, because
yeah.
before that, some of the developers they have to bake in some of the like agent as a part of their application. And
Mhm.
what's the differentiate the second generation of the first generation is that existence of this called like a sidecar pattern. Essentially, in front of your application, there would be
Mhm.
like a small process that will be serving the traffic in and out on your application. So this sidecar thing that many developers already know and use. It's called Envoy. It's open source
Very,
project. And many implementations, including like some of the like gateways, use Envoy as their engine, compared to Nginx, for example. And those service meshes like Kuma, Istio, some other, um, they use Envoy as their sidecar. And sidecar in this case is like a piece that of infrastructure that you not manage, but something has to managing. In the world of service mesh, we call it the control plane. So your Envoy proxy would be a data plane, and control plane, this is something that your administrator as developer will be interacting. So the difference in these two between the Kuma and Istio is the way how the control plane actually works. Underlying functionality, they both using the Envoy. The Istio has very certain opinionated ways about the objects that we will use to interact with this. Istio started with Kubernetes in mind, and Istio always was kind of like a Kubernetes-centric thing, even though things are changing right now. Kuma came from the slightly different background. It came from the understanding that the service mesh, the way how it unifies communication between your applications, it also needs to unify how you like to deploy your application. So the Kuma was designed from the very beginning to be what we called universal mesh. You can span it across Kubernetes cluster, VMs, bare metal, across multiple regions, across different cloud providers. And this is something that was part of design initially. So it was designed around like a building different zones that would be communicating to either you have like a one control plane that controls everything, or you have like a multiple control planes, like more the federated type of style. So architecturally, they do the same thing. So, and more importantly, like we do support our customers who use like Istio because they still want to serve the traffic that service mesh usually serves the traffic that will be inside your data center, and to outside world you expose something like a gateway. So we do work very nicely with the Istio on the Kong gateway side of things. So external traffic can work this. So it's all about details and about like level of, what kind of bits you're putting in a management side of things. Like Istio has some observability tooling out of the box. We rather prefer to rely on the open source tools like Grafana and Prometheus and providing some of the experience there, because we know that many operations people don't care about the whole zoo of different tools. They just want to have like multiple data sources that will be aggregated through Prometheus, and they will be displaying this in the Grafana dashboards for everything they need. Some other things around traffic management, the way how the policies, these definitions that will define how the applications will be communicate are slightly different. Like I said, the Istio is like very opinionated, and there's sometimes it's I'm not a huge fan of like bashing on the competitors, but sometimes the policies will be a little bit confusing and a little bit convoluted. Especially like I did some videos where when I was doing integration with the like a gateway. Istio has its own like gateway that, like I said, built on top of Envoy that you can put this in front and serve the traffic in. And the way how you can marry together the gateway object and the service object where your application will communicate. You need to follow certain.
Virtual
exactly.
service,
Exactly. But good thing is that the work that Istio done with this gateway actually paved the way the standard that will come into the Kubernetes world. So essentially, we have like ingress as a standard way to expose the traffic from outside to outside world, from outside world to our applications. And the work that they did around the gateway is a lot influenced new standard that coming called Gateway API that also will be part of Kubernetes future. Like we love Istio, we work like with different communities. We have multiple customers who use one another. That's what we do.
Awesome. It's great to hear, and I always love to talk about service mesh because it's something that we at Red Hat we try to push that to our customers, and it's quite a big mind shift for people to accept that. And sometimes we manage to do that, sometimes we don't, but slowly, and sometimes it doesn't make sense for some customers. So it's not, they don't need it. Maybe they will need it later, and but we plant the seed, as I like to say, and
and I think that's the goal of like a developer relations team, because it's not like a one-way street. It's something that we need to explain. Like sometimes you don't need this because you either your old monolithic application and it work on some of the the controls if you want to do some of the things much easier like I don't know, MTLS. Usually it's something that the people are like struggling with
Yeah,
because
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's not this MTLS difficult, but the rather distribution of certificates and after rotation of the certificates, the automation process. There's something is not it's not it's not straightforward, and different people like to do things in different ways, and when you do this manually there's some error prone approach. But with the some of the tools, with automation tools that comes with service mesh, you can do this. But
Yeah.
in this case, it's rather than doing kind of like a lipstick on the
Oh yeah, that's it.
how they say lipstick a lipstick on the pig,
Yeah,
rather
yeah,
than
yeah,
solving
yeah,
like a
yeah, yeah.
bigger
That's it.
problem by
Yeah,
decoupling the
yeah,
application and use the
yeah,
service mesh as a kind of like a means to build a granular control over traffic
yeah, yeah.
between applications.
No, no, no. Great, 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 great. Let's switch gears. We spoke about service mesh is great. Let's speak about streams, Kafka, stuff like that, because I know that's a topic that you love. Maybe we could start. I don't know how we could start this discussion. It could be. I could ask you, what is for you event-driven architecture? Maybe is that a good start to to
Yeah,
get you started on the topic, and
yeah.
you explain to me what you think about it, and we can.
Yes, of course. So in approach traditional approach where the application are developed and designed for any imperative language has this notion of that you have a function that you're calling, and you need to pass the set of parameters, and the function can return you a set of results. This same approach was moved to like a request response pattern where we abstracted the way from what do we calling. We start like using HTTP as a transport, and we one service calling another service. But in this case, it as they say, it creates a kind of like a deeply coupled application. Even though those are distributed, like every time we need to call some external service, you have a coupling. And obviously, the things that we just discussed, the service mesh allows you to kind of decouple this and abstract the way how the services will communicate. But there's another approach that says, well, I don't need to call directly some other service. If some other service will require some information from me, I would rather publish this information somewhere in a form of event, or something happened here. I will form a fact that happened with my system, and I will share this fact with rest of the system. And whoever would be interested in this can consume this fact, some of the things that happened with my system, and after that. They don't have to have direct connection to me. So in this case, I can follow my my own cycle of deploying application. I can be down sometime and improve the way. So improve the adding new features faster and things like that. So but with this approach, there would be a third party come into play. So in this third party, it needs to have a kind of capability. So it needs to be, first of all, persistent. So this data should be available every time for everyone who wants to consume it, right? Second thing is that the system requires to be, also fault tolerant and highly available. So because it will be a central place for exchanging this information between the systems, it needs to be there all the time, because that's what we're trying to avoid. We're trying to be more resilient, communicating with the other system, and but also not introduce a direct dependency. So the system needs to be highly available, and it needs to be fast. It needs to be fast
Yeah.
because potentially, once it be central, like the neural central of your data system in the world, it needs to be fast and serving so many different consumers and producers. So this is how we come into Kafka. So Kafka allows us to store all these events in a durable fashion. Kafka has a built-in replication mechanism, so in case of failure of certain nodes, the data will be available on other nodes. And the Kafka is very fast. Like Kafka has interesting capability that distinct it from make it different from the other systems, specifically the way how the Kafka delivers messages. With the messaging systems, we usually have a broker that push the messages into your application. But what if, so in this case, we have another problem, how we can make sure that we will be ready to consume this message, how we can implement maybe back pressure and saying, hey, we're a little bit overwhelmed, can you not, push it on us? With the Kafka approach, the consumer is always kind of checking if there's something for me. If I'm still processing, I'm not going to check if there's something for me. I know that it will be there whenever I need this, because for the first things that I mentioned, durable, highly available, and fast system will store this for me. And another problem that we're solving is future-proof as well, which means that if some other service wants to use the data that my service provides, this service not necessarily needs to call me to get this data. It's data already published in the Kafka. So it will go and fetch this data and do whatever they want with this data because the data is already there. And it will not disappear after consumption of one service. So durability element comes into play. So this drastically change the way how we think about the system interactions. However, sometimes it might even will look like an over-engineering. However, like I said, it's a future-proof design and design that allows scalability. So you planning to use more of this as you building the system. When you have only two services that communicate one to another, it's easy to maintain those services and the communications. But when you have tens of services and different services need to communicate, like I said, service mesh can help, but someone needs to manage it, and what I like to say, like a service mesh versus Kafka is the service mesh, or the Kafka is more like a data-driven communication. So it operates on a higher plane of the application, where we not care about individual packets like TCP or HTTP packets, but we care about data. We send orders, we send confirmations, we send notifications, we send whatever we want to send. So some of the business-oriented data we send on top of the Kafka. And the service mesh, actually, Kafka can be one of the elements of the service mesh. We don't need to configure security on the Kafka side. I know many people also struggling to do this because it's, let's face it, it's not like a most user-friendly thing there in the configuring Kafka. But with the service mesh can handle this type of stuff for the users and handle communication without explicitly imposing these things into Kafka.
Yeah, that's great. And I think what often people confuse there when they start discovering Kafka, they think about event-driven stuff, which is great, but they forgot one important stuff is that we are speaking about records that are persisted in Kafka, which is because event-driven systems, subscribes, publish systems exist since when I started working in 2004. And Kafka, there's a record. You can even replay stuff if needed. And I think, I don't know what's your feeling about it, but often I need to explain that's something that is way different than a simple publish and forget system. No, here with Kafka, we are publishing something that happened. It's persisted. You can reuse it. Anyone, any component from your system can use it whenever they need it. And I don't. Is this? Am I wrong, or is that also a really important aspect of Kafka?
Yes, it is a very important aspect, and I will explain. Let me let me explain why it is important, in my opinion. So when we design a simple application, when we need to figure out what is going on in the system, we usually look at the application log. Application log is our source of truth for our small application. And usually it allows us to understand what, when we read this from the beginning, we understand what was the state of the system in the moment where some of the exception was thrown. We understand that the system was in a certain state, and the topic of the state is also, it's very important for the Kafka and the stream processing. So with these systems, we usually rely on some like a database that will store the state. And this is where I like to talk about Kafka more like very special type of database rather than messaging system. If we do like a step back real quick, and we can say that many people came in the Kafka world, they came from the messaging world because they have this expectations that, okay, so there's a publisher, there's a producer, there's a consumer, so maybe it sounds like very much like a messaging system. And I think this what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say the confusion, but at least like this understanding that comes from the confusion that the developers of the Kafka, they would try to explain the things using the terms of their time. So to rephrase the Howard Stark from the Iron Man 2, I was limited by technology in my time. So they were limited by vocabulary of their time. They were trying to build something else that will capture some of the features from existing systems, messaging systems, but also databases and data warehouse systems. So that's why they took some of the vocabulary, like a topic, like consumer, producer, but also they took something from database, like partitioning thing, and where the data will be stored in the partitions. There's the unit of work that usually distributed database, or like in general databases are using in order to explain how the data will be structured, stored inside. So and database gives us ability to, I'm doing air quotes to replay as well, because you can return to database every time and get the data, and it will be there. So why would not have or like employ the same expectation, impose the same expectation to Kafka as well? So, but in this case, the pattern accessing this data would be slightly different. So we cannot do request response with Kafka. So what we need to do, we need to move our point in the very beginning of time, or like whatever point of time. Exactly. There's like a time travel. Like we take this point and moving this point back in time, and so we can replay all these events. Why this can be useful? Like, when you're storing your state in your database, and that when you restart your application, your state will be preserved in the database. So you have this expectation. You don't ask in these questions from your database. You just know this. When you need to get the state back, you will just ask your database. Even when you change your application code, maybe you introducing some new functionality that will be dealing with this data. It's exactly the same thing. There's only different pattern how this data will be accessed. Same thing with the Kafka. You have somewhere that stores history, and you're reconstructing this state from the history by replaying this. It is slightly different from what people used to, but not much. The creators of the Kafka, they took the ideas that work for years in database system and actually push it out of abstraction into the hands of the people. I'm talking about this log thing. Because if you would use in database and you spend some time learning a little bit how these databases work, underlying storage for database is this transactional log. It can be write-ahead file where all this database collect the stuff that you do. And also you have a database management system that will be turn this transactional log into something that you as a developer can use: tables, views, stored procedures, or all these kind of things. So only thing that creators of the Kafka they did, they actually allow you choose your own adventure, and you as a developer, you implementing your database query language for yourself. It can be standard like a Java consumer producers, it can be something a little bit more complex like a Kafka streams, or something more abstract like a KSQL DB that allows you to use, you know, we went the full cycle, as you can see. Yeah, I'm talking a little bit about like a history, and we came from the time where we, okay, so let's replicate how databases are storing the data, and now we're replicating streaming database on top of this distributed transaction log. So history repeats itself. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I put in the chat because you wrote a book. Well, you're a co-author of it, Kafka in Action, and we know. Oh, there it is.
Yeah,
Those
I
books
came, I
are
came,
always
I came prepared. Yeah.
awesome. Honestly, I still need to order it, but I will buy it because these are really. So
I rather send you copies. Just like send me your email.
oh
I
yeah,
will send it to you.
hopefully, we will meet together in a conference, and you can make
I would looking forward to it.
assign the version for me. Yeah. I love it. I'm just looking at the chat here. Tony well, he was mentioning time travel even before you mention it, so he knows you really well. I love it.
Yeah.
He was asking DB list, so database list. Could you explain a bit and how it compares to serverless? I don't know. Is it something you want to mention? Maybe I don't know. Have you played with Knative eventing and Kafka, for instance? Or I don't know. I'm just trying to connect with serverless. Is this something that you?
Yeah.
Have been playing
So
with?
I actually me and my friend James Ward, we did last year when the world started open up. We were like super lucky and hashtag blessed to meet up with awesome community in London, and we did a workshop around how to use Knative for writing the
Yeah.
application driven the event driven applications. So in a short world, what I love about Knative is it is a platform same way as a Kubernetes. So everyone can have their own Kubernetes,
Yeah.
and it's regardless of your vendor of choice. It can be
Exactly.
OpenShift, and it can be some of the managed solution. It can be something like you can take this from open source and install it using different tools like kubeadmin, like a cups and other tools. Regardless, you have this. So, but this is give you like a bare minimum, gives you kind of like your assembly language. Now we need to have a platform that will be running your applications. OpenShift was doing this like for years. Like what was the right name of the tool that allows me to build like as a part of the so I don't need to even build my images. So like I just need to point OpenShift and it will create images for me and like ship it to OpenShift.
Source to image, S2I.
Yes, source to image, exactly. And idea of increasing developer velocity by like removing all these obstacles in the front came like very long time ago from tools like Heroku. So you just like point to your GitHub repository or just like a Git repository, you do Heroku push, and your application all of a sudden is running somewhere. This was very compelling, and the community wanted to have something very similar to what the source to image does, what Heroku did for years in a standard in Kubernetes way. So that's why they come up with this platform called Knative that allows you to do things and focus around your application in a serverless fashion, meaning that you don't need to worry about the infrastructure. Even though you personally, as a developer, don't need to, your infrastructure people will worry about this. One of the things with the Knative that they come with the obviously serving. This is your serverless platform. This is where your application will be running. But also, community understood importance of building this event-driven application. So that's why the Knative eventing, it's the approach that allows to also abstract the way how this application will communicate inside this platform. And right now there's a implementation and binding that use Kafka as a transport, but this
Yeah.
absolutely kind of like a separated from it can be any transport for your choice that will implement this specification, and they use this standard called cloud events that allows to also abstract the way how the
Yeah.
system will communicate. Like again, reminds me good old days, like soap over GMS type of stuff. But
Yeah,
hey,
yeah. But I love the fact that Knative converts any incoming source to a cloud event.
yeah.
That's already a great thing. Yeah. Anyway, yeah,
And it's great in my opinion. So the cloud events are great.
yeah,
They are easy to understand. So there's no
yeah,
like a very
exactly. Yeah,
there's you can put any type of workload there. It's
yeah,
really doesn't matter. It will create like small tiny envelope that will be based on the implementation details. It can be either translated to some headers like in the Kafka world, or it can be
exactly.
part of the
Yeah,
because there's a two implementation for Kafka, at least for Java. There's one that supports the there's like also like implementation that supports like encoding this message into Avro, which is also very popular format in the
oh
Kafka world.
yeah.
But
Otherwise,
in
it's
general,
header. Oh, yeah,
yeah. But
yeah,
in general, this is what the community is going in terms of like unifying the communication
yeah.
between the system and your transport of choice. It can be whatever you want. Yep.
Ah, that's great. That's great. That's great. I just want to mention because it's the second time he asked on the chat, and I don't want to ignore him. Asif is asking about your Java champion journey. So we are switching gears a bit, but maybe you can explain how you became a Java champion. It's a question that we got a lot because I receive a lot of Java champions here, but maybe you can share your story of it, and I think
Yeah,
people
of
would love
course.
to hear it. Yeah.
Of course. So my journey as a Java champion become like started like a long time ago. Like I was when I was back in Russia in 2008, I guess. I was listening to podcasts like very influential at the time. So Java Posse was my um, podcast. What I was listening there, and there was a lot of cool people. Uh, Dick Wall, Carl Quinn, bless his heart. We lost him in the COVID, and I learned a lot of things listening to this podcast. That was just like very influential at that time, and I was like, yeah, that would be super cool to go to Java one day and meet some of those people, and it was fantastic. So like when I came to States, I started participating in local Java user group community. I live in New Jersey, and my local community was around Princeton. There was Java user group community that running by one of my friends. He's also like become a Java champion for running this community. So the champion program is not like we fighting each other, and someone who was
Yeah,
the most strongest or like had more buffed will get the championship. Hashtag Olympics. It's about we championing the Java as an ecosystem, as a community, and we serving our community, and it's just like a recognition that we're doing a great job. So the people who run the local meetups, people who contribute to open source project around Java, people who contribute to JDK, participating in GCP, those people are Java champions because they are promoting Java and telling about things Java. So I participated with with a lot of meetups. Even at some point, I even like took over running this meetup. We did a few events with in Princeton, and like I started participating in more activities, meet with a lot of people at the Java one. I was always in the Java community. I was working around like open source tools. That time I started working. Hazelcast was the Java in
yeah,
memory data grid, and there was a lot of like influence in how it works with the JCache, which was like specification that was a part
oh yeah,
of
yeah.
Java EE, and we actively participated in the JCache specification. Hazelcast at the time like supported JCache from perspective of as one of the implementations. So over time, still working with community, I did a lot of work in the Russian-speaking community. So since 2010, I'm running a podcast that is like not 100% focused on Java, but there's many people who are in the Java world. So I'm spending a lot of time with the Java community in Russia as well, even like remotely. we did this
Yeah,
we did this remote stuff even before it was cool, right?
yeah, yeah.
And a lot of work that I did for like presenting some of the stuff around the Java EE, like a WebSockets technology. I was like a huge fan when it was announced it as a part of like Java E6, and I was doing a lot of like presentations and promoting how to use the WebSockets inside Java EE.
Oh, yeah,
When the
yeah, yeah,
Java
yeah.
8 came into play, I spent some time to learn the Nashorn technology. What was the JavaScript engine that built in Java 8 was a great tool. I think right now it will be replaced with something like a Growl. So yeah, so there was a lot of work in the community, but just like helping people to learn Java. Obviously, Kafka use a lot of Java. All the examples in the book are
Yeah, yeah,
written
yeah.
in Java. So yeah, so I just like do things, and I was super happy when the community recognized my work, and it was accepted as a Java champion. So was was super excited. Like I said, the journey was not long, but it's not about destination; it's about journey. So
Your
happy to
journey.
be
Yeah, yeah,
part of this
yeah, yeah.
community.
Yeah, and I think, well, explaining your journey, you give also some tips to people that would love to. Well, you give some examples, getting involved in this and this,
Yeah,
and yeah, yeah. It's not. Let's say you don't get Java Champion for free. Okay, it's not because you're cool because we see you at conferences. It's not that
yeah.
the reason that you will become a Java champion. There's more to it, and I think you mentioned that pretty clearly.
Just
Yeah,
yeah, just build open source project. When we have like a lot of Java champions who build awesome open source projects serving many developers, and those projects not necessarily needs to be kind of like super influential, but at least they
yeah,
need to bring some value for some people,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah, yeah. Yeah. And
yeah,
I think
see, of course.
as if asked question, and he's really happy with the. He says that's an inspirational. Thank you, Victor. And that's that is really what I love about this show because I have guests and we just chat and they come with great tips, great inspiration stuff, and like you just did right now, and it's awesome. Let me see. We have 12 minutes left. Usually what I do, I don't know if you're used to this show, but usually what we do, I spend the 10, 12 last minutes to play a game with everyone. You can stay on the stream, of course. And we will be playing a game today, though, for 5 or 7 minutes. You probably know the game. It's called Pac-Man. And
Yay.
I have a special version of Pac-Man that I hacked 1 year ago, and I will share a link in a few moments, and everyone can play. The thing is that every time, well, when you join the game, you will create a record on a Kafka topic saying "I joined the game," and every time that you will eat a ghost, you will write a record on a Kafka topic saying, I eat this ghost. And I have some Kafka streams that do some leaderboard stuff based on the number of ghosts that you ate. Okay, so I use that a lot to explain Kafka streams because it's so great because it's it's Pac-Man and people love it. And DJ Madi, he knows it. The Return of Kafka stream. So let me just share my screen and I will explain you
Mm-hmm.
really quickly what I did. So I'm using OpenShift, of course. And you know what? Let me just go here to the admin view. I need Kafka, okay? And what better things to use in Kafka if you need Kafka on Kubernetes, you probably know. Maybe you are contributing to it. Uh,
I was,
Streamzy.
yeah, I was on other side of the fence. So there was like a proprietary thing that I work at the Confluent. We built like
Okay.
our like a operator. But yeah,
Yeah.
Streamzy. We use Streamzy in our workshop when we talk about key native. And yeah, I found
Yeah.
this was very easy to set up. I personally, I maintain, or like I'm trying to maintain, help to maintain a open source Helm charts
Okay.
for Kafka in Confluent platform. So there's a kind of like the community driven the Helm charts, but the Streamzy does a lot of like cool things. It's not
Oh
only
yeah,
just
yeah.
like for
So
development. It's just
Streamzy is almost magic for me because I install the operator and then I do 2 clicks and I
yeah,
get
and
my
you say, okay,
scripture.
so I wanna have a Kafka, and you don't say like,
Exactly.
oh, I want to have
No. I want
stateful
to have a Kafka.
set, persistent volume
No. I don't care.
claims,
I want a Kafka,
config.
and
Yeah, I want a
I
Kafka.
click 2 times and I have a Kafka running. Okay, so that's why I do that, and then of course I have my Pac-Man project. I have 2 projects. The front end, the game itself, that will register when you join as a player, when you eat a ghost. And I have the Pac-Man aggregator, which is a Kafka stream, which just do some aggregation and put that on another topic. And I have some leaderboards using SSE, so server-side events to push that.
Mm-hmm.
And I can share the link with everyone. Okay, so I put it here in the chat, and everyone can just join the game. It will generate a player name for you. Okay, so I
Mm-hmm.
will be Adele, whatever. Okay, and I can start playing the game. Okay, and remember, you only score points when you eat a ghost. So make sure you eat ghost. Otherwise, it won't trigger anything on the Kafka topic. Okay, so um,
Okay, let me open this
yeah,
one
yeah,
as well.
yeah. And everyone, please join. And in a few seconds, I will open the leaderboard, and we will see if people have joined. And we will have a real time. Oh, I lost. Okay, but I eat one go, so I can open the leaderboard. Let me open the leaderboard. Let me see that, and I can see how many people joined. So just to people joined. Okay, so don't be shy. Click. Let me see how many people are we on the stream. I saw we were pretty busy. I saw around 40 people on the stream. So 4 people. Alan 1924 is leading with 7 points. Okay, so people are joining. Okay, so just come on the stream. You can see it here. I have the leaderboard, and it's real time. So I'm basically computing real time. Every time that you eat a ghost, I know which ghost you have eaten and which player you are. And I have a pretty simple Kafka stream that combines player names and score topics. I do some computation. In fact, it's just adding points, but it's just to make the point of Kafka streams, and I send that to a third stream, and I probably create a global table to stream that to a front end. Uh, but but it's it's Pac-Man, and people love Pac-Man. So, and I can see Victor really concentrated. So, what is your player name?
It says Alan 1042.
The 142. Let me take a look. Let me just eat one ghost and let me see. Alan 142. Let me see where you are. Alan 1 for Alan 1924, something like that, or
One 1042, and
one
game
zero.
over.
Oh yeah, 1042. Oh, you were third. You have 8 points. So it's still Alan 1924 who is leading. Please let us know in the chat who it is, okay? Because yeah, Asif, the name is randomly assigned. That was a choice by us because you know I'm live streaming. Anyone could join. Anyone could pick any nickname they want,
Yeah.
and I want to limit some, weird stuff that could happen. And
Yep. Yep. People are have interesting choices
exactly,
in
exactly.
their internet identities and stuff
Yeah,
that they do in
yeah, yeah,
intranets.
yeah, yeah. So let me see. As if your Grace 4640. I don't see you here in the leaderboard. Let me refresh. But anyway, it's a really funny way of showing Kafka. And to be honest, I haven't published that yet, but I have another version where any move that you make with your Pac-Man, I record it as a Kafka record. And when you're done playing, you have the option to replay, to see a replay of
Oh
your
wow.
party. And what I do, I just go back. I reset my offset, and I do a replay. And I set some
Yep.
timeout, and I can get a replay of my party using Kafka, a Kafka streaming inside. I'm using Quarkus, of course, but it's really funny. I still need to polish that up before I can publish anything about that. But that's the idea, that everyone can play, and like the winner, we could be able to rewatch all together his party just by replaying all the events that he plays. So
That's pretty cool.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And what is Tony saying? Need to make this a channel permanent Sebi. Not sure what you say, Tony, but what I'm showing you, I have to write some doc about that. But you can deploy what I just show you on the OpenShift. Let me see you, because OpenShift, maybe not everyone can get an OpenShift, but what you can get for free, you just need a Red Hat developer account. You can get a developer OpenShift sandbox for 30 days, no credit card ask, okay? And you get a complete OpenShift instance. There are some limitations, of course, but you can use the managed Kafka of Red Hat. You can deploy anything you want. You have Knative there and the operator installed by default. And after 30 days, you can just renew it. So if you need a cluster and you don't want to play with your tired or of playing with Minikube on your machine and you want a real thing without paying anything, Red Hat developer sandbox is something that you can play with.
Let's take a look in this in the OpenShift console if you have a Kong there.
Sorry?
In the OpenShift console, let's take a look if you can install Kong there. That's my
yeah. Is it an
yes,
operator or?
yes, it should be an operator hub.
Okay.
And
So
and the Kong is also like a Red Hat OpenShift certified technology. So
yeah. So probably on the sandbox that won't work, but here I got another. That's my cluster on Azure, and here I have no limitation. Would probably, if I go to the operator, if I search for Kong. Oh, look at it! I got the Kong operator. I got two here. Probably more or less the same one marketplace.
yeah,
Just go
marketplace
for this one.
probably is just the way how you can acquire license or whatnot. But the Kong operator, that's what you wanna. Yep.
And I just do install here, and yeah. So great thing on the operator hub, you find anything you want, including amazing stuff
including
like
Kong.
including Kong. You can see I have installed a lot of things today because I did a lot of talks for customers today. So I talk about ACO, and where is Kong? There is Kong. Kong is there.
Yep.
Kong is getting installed. Okay, and what do we have as cool things? So we can create a Kong instance. Okay. To be honest, I never played with it, but
we can move this. We can move this for the next time.
For the next session, I will be more than happy to do.
We can hack around. Exactly.
Yeah,
that's what I love as well. So I also do, if I may, to advertise some of my work. I do live streams every Wednesday. Like every Wednesday, I'm switching to like a 2 weeks cadence live
Yeah,
stream
yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah.
called Kong Builders and Kong YouTube channel. So if
Okay.
you're interested in this type of stuff, or your listeners and your watchers interested in this type of stuff and want to learn more
Yeah.
or get their
I'm
questions asked,
looking for the
or
channel right now, though I can share it. King Builders, you
yeah, it's
you say?
youtube.com/Kong Inc.
Kong Inc. Oh, come on. I think I saw Kong Inc. Kong Inc. Uh, if you have the link, you can share it with me right now in the
Yep.
private chat. And
Yep. I can send it.
yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah,
like a
yeah, yeah.
Kong
Because
and
I'm
Inc. Like
in,
Inc.
I'm not in mode, but almost.
That's okay. All right.
Let's see.
For some reasons, links are not going through.
Oh no! You in Restream you have a private chat,
Okay.
and you can share it to me there, and we share it on the public. Yeah, there we go.
Perfect.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. I got it here, and I put it there. Okay. So please subscribe. So every first Tuesday. No, I don't remember what you said. Every week you give a live stream about it.
Yes, it is a live stream. We call it Kong Builders because we're building
Yeah.
some stuff there. So it's a
Yeah,
hacking
yeah. I love
session.
it.
Like something
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
something definitely won't work. And that's how we roll, right? That's how we roll.
Yeah,
We're building
exactly.
something and learning something. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, it's awesome. We are already 1 minute over time. I think we are right because no one is streaming after me. I hope so because we are using a common channel from OpenShift, but I think no one is streaming after me. But just to be on the sure side, I will close this stream right now. Victor, again, it was really great to have you. And as you said, yeah, I want to play with Kong, the Kong operator. Maybe we can do another stream, or you can
Absolutely.
invite me on your stream at one point, and we can
Yes,
do something
that
great.
would be fantastic.
And
Yes.
yeah. Hey, thank you so much. Thank you for everyone on the chat. We were quite a lot of people today, and thank you, Tony. Thank you, Digimadi. Thank you, Arif. Thank you, everyone that is there. Have an awesome evening, day, depending where you are. Please stay safe. We are getting to the bright side of the world right now, but still we have to be cautious. And Victor, hopefully we will meet soon in Wheel, in a conference.
Yes.
Or any.
Of course.
And yeah, I wish you a really, really nice day. And again, thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
It was great. And
Yeah.
my name is Victor Gamov. And as always, have a nice day.
Yeah, thank you. Awesome. And let me